Ruby is the birthstone of July, which symbolizes passion and love. Ruby is a gemstone which has been loved by many royalty and nobles for a long times. It is still the most expensive gem after diamond and very much favored by many women. There are many relatively cheap rubies in the market. But when it's more than 1 carat, the price becomes very high according to its carat weight. Also, the price varies greatly depending on the quality such as color, brilliance and cut. I would like to give a few tips for those who wants to buy a ruby as follows. There are treated rubies, synthetic rubies, fake ruby, and other red gemstones as well as natural rubies in the jewelry market. So you need to be careful about these when you buy a ruby. Ruby's quality and value, like diamonds, depends on the 4C carat weight, color, clarity, and cut. In general, gem identification certificate or report are mainly distributed in the jewelry market. But still there are few grading reports that have been graded according to 4C like a diamond grading report. So when you buy a ruby, you have to check whether it is natural, synthetic, or treated stone with an identification report. And, you have to take a good look at the color, brilliance, and cutting conditions of the ruby. Good rubies have a bright but deep red color with a good brilliance. The most popular shapes of rubies are oval or cushion shape with good proportion and finish. And about the clarity grade, eye clean is good enough, which you cannot see any inclusions inside of a ruby with a naked eye. But in reality, it is not easy to choose a good ruby, so much care and close checking is essential when buying an expensive ruby. A synthetic ruby has exactly same chemical, physical and optical properties with a natural ruby but man-made. As technology has advanced, synthetic rubies are very commonly traded in the market. However, it is difficult for ordinary people to distinguish them with a naked eye. According to the synthetic method, there are flux method, flame fusion method, and hydrothermal method. Synthetic rubies processed by the flame fusion method are sold at very low prices. But synthetic rubies by the flux method are relatively expensive. And sometimes this flux processed ruby might be cheated as a natural stone, so a reliable gem laboratory's identification report is essential when buying an expensive ruby more than 1 carat. There are rubies made by hydrothermal method, but there is little distribution in the jewelry market so far. Not only the synthetic rubies, but various treated rubies are also being sold in the market. A treatment is a process to improve the color or clarity of a natural stone. As a ruby can be improved its color through heat treatment or thermal treatment. It has been a long practice to treat rubies by this method. So most of the natural rubies in the market are likely heat treated, which have been a common practice for a long time. Because heat-treated rubies have a stable color, it is a common practice to trade it without reveal the information of such treatment. Therefore, the heat-treated rubies don't have to be bothered at all in most cases unless you really have to buy a non-heat-treated ruby at a premium price which can be identified only by a reliable gem identification report. Treatment other than thermal treatment includes dyeing treatment, fracture filling treatment, diffusion treatment and beryllium treatment. There are much differences in terms of value between these treated rubies and natural rubies. So you have to be careful. But most of these treated rubies are not easy to tell by a naked eye. Even if it's a ruby with an identification report, these treatments are usually marked as the remarks of the identification report, so you have to check closely. If there is such a remark, there may be much differences in value compared to natural rubies. Sometimes consumers may buy these treated rubies because they are cheap. When they buy them, they will pay a significant amount of money. But when they try to resell them, it's hard to resell or get only a very low return in most cases. As these treated stones might not be distinguished by the naked eye, gemologists also use a microscope or other advanced devices to identify them. There are other natural gemstones look like a ruby. They are red spinel, rubellite, red beryl, etc. In most cases, it is not a big concern to mistake them for rubies if there is a gem identification report. There is also a very cheap fake ruby, which is a red-colored glass which mostly sold in cheap accessory market. In conclusion, when you buy an expensive ruby, you need to be careful about the synthetic rubies and treated rubies, and it is wise to make sure to check the identification report closely when buying. And also, you need to pay a close look at the color, clarity, brilliance, shape and finish of the ruby. Thank you very much for watching.